incident can record that incident with your police force and any police force in the country as a hate incident. They may not have known the context, may know nothing about it.
Yeah, well, that's why we need to build up a picture of what's going on in South Yorkshire. Exactly what is it that's being people are talking about? What is it that's being recorded? Then it's up to the police then to sort and to sift that and to say, well, in this instance, we think that was a non-crime, it was an incident, but nevertheless, it was a serious incident. It caused this person to be distressed, and that's what upsets people in our communities. And that's part of the job of the police, is to help people who are in distress, whether it's a crime or a non-crime. And
but don't you think? And given we've got front page some of the papers today reporting that the National Audit Office is saying that police officers are arresting fewer people, putting patrols. They're struggling to deliver an effective service because of the cuts in numbers and in budgets. Do you not think that the South Yorkshire Police should be spending their time worrying about actual crimes as opposed to what you're already saying? You're not saying if you think it's a crime, report it. You're saying if you don't think it's a crime, report it. Given that in the last year, an independent report found that 17,000 crimes that were reported to the police were not recorded by the police, including very violent crimes in some cases. More than 1 in 10 of the actual crimes reported to South Yorkshire Police last year were not recorded by the police. If you don't have time to report actual crimes, to record those and investigate those, why are you spending time, or why are you encouraging officers to spend time investigating non-crimes?
Well, with the greatest respect, I don't think you realise just how serious some of these
I think I do.
Are, and indeed sometimes
I think I do. I think if they're serious, they'll become crimes.
Well, they're serious to the person who's affected, deeply serious, and they're serious not just to that individual, but to people. Give me
an example of something that you think someone should report to the hurty-feelings hotline that's a non-crime hate incident.
Well, the reason this arose is because we had an incident in Barnsley town centre on Saturday. Someone wielding a knife who was a member of an ethnic minority community. Rumours spread around about what was going on. There were hints about terrorism and so on. That produced a lot of racist language on social media, a lot of rumour flying about in the town, and some members of the community in that town were deeply affected by that and felt that they were under threat. And that's the kind of thing that happens all the time.
Are you saying, when you say racist language, I didn't see those tweets, but I'm going to guess a lot of those were people thought it was someone. I think I can't remember what their nationality was. But the view was it was a terror incident. It was an ISIS-inspired incident, and then people might have been saying stuff about Islamic extremism. And you would have thought of this. You would view this as racist hate speech, right?
Well, the reaction to that on the part of some people was quite extraordinary. They used it as an occasion to simply heap abuse on part of our community. Now, that's wrong, and some of that may well be criminal, but a lot of it was non-crime.
So if it's, wait a minute, so again, comments. So the stuff that's criminal, you may or may not want to investigate. The stuff that's not criminal, none of your business. Freedom of speech in this country. As long as someone's not actually inciting violence or threatening violence, they have a right to express their opinion in this country last time I looked.
People have a total right to express their opinion.
Except if you don't like it.
If the expression of that opinion leads them into a non-crime incident, which may well develop into a criminal incident.
No. How does someone sending a tweet that hurts someone's feelings, it may be a tweet that you would never write, it may be a tweet that I would never write, it may be a tweet that I read and think, oh, God, they sound like a nasty piece of work. If it's not a crime, it's none of your bloody business.
Well, it's all right for us to sit in our radio studios or in our offices saying this, but if you live in some of these communities where people are deeply affected by this, and that causes tension within our communities, that becomes an issue for policing.
OK, well, let's talk about what causes tension in communities. OK, we go back many years, the South Yorkshire Police, and we look at what happened, the Hillsborough incident. That caused a lot of tension in terms of lack of trust. I know you weren't Police and Crime Commissioner. They didn't exist at that time. But then we go back not very many years at all to the Rotherham child rape gangs, when there are now 98 separate investigations into the failures of senior police officers to deal with this. Some 1,500 girls being routinely, daily gang raped, and the police decided to turn a blind eye to it. Do you not think that there will be an awful lot of people in the South Yorkshire area, your communities that you speak so much about, who might prefer it if the police spent their time investigating gang rape of teenage girls rather than people whose feelings are hurt on Twitter?
If it's a case of either or, then of course that would be absolutely.
It is a case of either or. You don't investigate all the crimes that are committed. Do you not think that once you've sorted out the actual crimes, maybe you might have time to deal with some of the non-crimes?
No, because I think these are things that are affecting the police in policing on a daily basis. So it's very important that the trust between our communities and our police is re-established for the reasons that you've highlighted.
Well, the trust will be re-established when you investigate, record and deal with and solve the crimes that are actually being committed.
Of course it is, because we're talking about people in our communities who may be disabled. There are people who may have issues about their gender identity, which other people take exception to. There may be people of a particular faith. There may be people of a particular race, and that can be of any race, and it can go any which way. And that deeply affects those people as individuals, and it can affect.
Do you know what also affects people? People being stabbed, people being raped, people having their homes burgled, people being mugged on the streets. You will be aware, I'm sure, that South Yorkshire Police has seen the area in your area that the recorded crime has risen 30% compared with a national rise of 21%, including very, very serious violent crime. I'm sure some people's feelings are hurt, but is that a top priority for the police?
Yeah, I was at a meeting yesterday in the Winter Gardens in Sheffield City Centre, where we were looking at knife crime, and we'd gathered together people from different communities. Now, some of those were people from different ethnic minority communities. They're precisely the sort of people who were deeply affected by the incident that happened on Saturday. And I
think the people who were most affected by the incident on Saturday were the people who were terrified out of their wits when a 6-foot woman ran through the town shouting, "Kill, kill, kill," with a large knife in her hand.
No, you're absolutely wrong, partly because I suppose because
I'm wrong.
Here. Well, you're wrong in the sense that it wasn't only those people. Those people were affected.
No, I said the people who were most. You're telling me that someone who saw a nasty tweet the day after an incident in which someone ran down the street shouting "kill, kill, kill" in the middle of the city, and you're saying that, well, no, their feelings may well have been hurt just as much.
No, I'm saying to you that on Saturday when that incident happened, there were a lot of people affected. Market traders, people who were shopping in the town centre, people who were passing by, they were deeply affected by that. Also, because of the vile racist comments that were put on social media and elsewhere and the rumours that ran around, other people were affected as well, well beyond the town centre, and that included some people from ethnic minority groups, not only in Barnsley, but in other parts of South Yorkshire.
You have repeatedly, in virtually every answer you've given to me, you've talked about our communities, you've talked about trust, and you've talked constantly about ethnic minority groups and religious groups. That has been the theme throughout all of your answers. Now, maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe it's because the person I am. I don't know. I think that most people in this country, regardless of the skin colour, their religion, or anything else, they just want the police to do their job. They want the police to be on the streets, but Bobby's on the beat. They want if they record a crime to have that crime investigated, and they want their work done. I don't think they think the police should be remotely involved in the communities, ethnic relations, other than where there is a crime involved.
Well, I've no idea how you know more than I know when you don't even live in South Yorkshire, but I'm telling you that there are people who are deeply disturbed when they are attacked because of their disability, because of their sexual orientation, because of their faith, because of their religion, and so on. And that deeply affects them as individuals.
Do you think it affects them as much as people who are mugged and raped and stabbed?
These aren't either or. These are not either or.
They are either or, because your police force clearly doesn't have the resources to actually investigate all of the actual crimes that are happening that really affect people.
Our police force has the resources to do the job that I want it to do. And this is part of the job that I want it to do. Because, as I keep telling you, this is the bit that I do repeat, building trust between the police force and its community, or its diverse communities, is an essential part of it.
All right, let me give you a scenario. You say your police has got all the resources, fine. Let's say you've got one police officer who's available. You get 2 calls. One call is, I've just come home. I've been burgled. There's a possibility the burglar may even still be in the house. I'm very, very scared. Please send the police now. And you've got another call from someone who says, someone sent me a nasty tweet online. Who do you send the police officer to?
Well, that'll be triaged by the call centre.
Who should? You're the Police and Crime Commissioner for South Yorkshire, Dr. Alan Billings. Who should they send the police officer to?
Well, I'm just telling you, the call handler will triage that. They'll make a decision about where.
And I'm asking you who they should send the police officer to.
Let me get to the end of the sentence. And the end of the sentence is that in that case, they will go to the burglary. Clearly.
Thank God. Thank God.
No, that's called triaging, and that goes on every single day, every single minute of every day, as police get.
What if the burglar wasn't in the house? What if it was just a burglar? Oh, I've come home, I've been burgled over the weekend, and I've come home, but the burglar's not there. Would you still send the police officer then, do you think?
Well, they'll have to decide on resources they've got available.
Would it depend on how hurt their feelings were by the burglary?
No, it won't. It'll depend on what forces are available at that time to deploy. And sadly, because of the cuts, because there are fewer police officers, then it's not always possible to send someone along every time when there's a house burglary. So a decision will have to be made.
It's not possible to send a police officer every time there's been a house burglary, but we're going to ask the public to report non-crime hate incidents, which will use up police time.
Yes, because as I keep repeating, there will be people within our communities who need to trust the police, because if they can't trust them to protect them, which is
how are you going to protect people from non-crime hate incidents?
How does what?
How do you protect people? How does the police protect people from non-crime hate incidents? They're not crimes. None of your darn business.
It's partly giving people who are deeply... I mean, some of these comments that are made, some of the things that happen to them are deeply troubling, deeply offensive. They're often borderline crime. So that if someone is assaulted verbally or physically or whatever, because of the way they're
that
dressed,
is a crime.
For example, that's important that they are reported. And sometimes people don't always know the difference between an incident and a crime. So we want people to get into the way of reporting to the police, to see the police as their friends and people who will protect them and help them.
Okay. Dr. Alan Billings, I'm just flabbergasted. I have to say, I was really hoping you would come on and you'd say, you know what, right, we should prioritise crimes. And I don't live in South Yorkshire. I don't claim to know South Yorkshire well, but I am pretty sure that if we did do a poll of people living in South Yorkshire, they would have a strong preference for the South Yorkshire Police to spend their time dealing with actual, real crimes rather than hurty feelings online.
Of course, police must deal with actual, real crime, and sometimes some of those crimes are hate crimes.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Alan Billings, South Yorkshire Police and Crime Commissioner. Really appreciate that. Love to hear your thoughts on that if you were listening to that as gobsmacked as I am.